Repotting houseplants is a normal process and part of growing plants within the home. When you bring home plants from a store that you've purchased, you can let them stay in the original pot for quite a period of time. It's only as those plants begin to grow, and if you have ideal conditions for them, then the plants will get bigger and they will begin to outgrow the pot that they are in. One way to figure out whether that plant needs to be repotted is to look at the size of the plant in relation to the size of the container. If the plant looks really out of proportion, it's too large for the pot that it's in, that could be an indicator that it's time to move it up to the next size pot. Another indicator would be to look for roots that are growing out of the drainage holes. It's kind of like when your feet begin to grow, you move them up to a larger shoe. Another indicator, if you are a little bit careful about it and if it's growing well, would be to actually knock the plant out of the pot. And if you begin to see roots that are growing and encircling towards the outside of the root ball, it definitely is also time to move it up to the next size container. The rule of thumb that we use for moving up to a larger container is to just go up to the next size. So let's say it's in a 4-inch pot, you would move it up to a 5-inch pot or a 6-inch pot. You wouldn't want to move a plant that's in a 4-inch pot up to a 12-inch pot because you're going to have too large of a soil area and the plant will not adapt very well. So you just want to move it up in a very small increment. It doesn't matter which type of pot you use. There's a lot of choices that are out there for consumers. Plastic pots have the advantages in that they're very lightweight. You always want to make sure that you have drainage holes. A lot of people prefer terracotta or clay because it has a little bit more of a natural look to it. Again, you want to be sure that there is a drainage hole in the bottom. If there is not, drill a hole in there if you're very careful so that you can allow extra water to get out. The disadvantage of clay is that it can become very heavy as the pot size increases, so that's another consideration. Also, if you're growing things like cacti and succulents, a lot of people prefer the terracotta or clay because it looks more natural and also offers a little bit of stability because cacti can get very top heavy. So our bird's nest fern is what we're going to repot today. This came out fairly easily, but if it does not and it's quite root bound in there, simply turning it upside down and tapping it either on the pot or on the table will release the pot, and then you can go from there. The next step would be to carefully break up that root system. It's a good thing for the plant because it's going to force it to send out new growth. If we don't break up the roots, they won't branch out into the surrounding soil. Our next step is going to be to select a potting soil, and there are a number that are out there on the market. It's a good idea to use a pre-packaged soil mix that you buy from the store rather than using garden soil, because garden soil is very heavy, it stays very wet, and can oftentimes contain pathogens that can cause disease problems on your plants. But you want it set at the same level that it was originally. Also keeping in mind that you want about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of space between the top of the container and the top of the soil ball. I'm going to fill in with my rest of my soil, and if the soil is very light and very fluffy, you want to make sure that you pack it down as it goes in that container. You do not want to leave the top of the soil ball exposed where there are roots, because what will happen is those roots will kind of act like air wicks and draw moisture out from the soils. The final step would be to water the plant thoroughly so that that soil mix gets saturated, let it drain out the bottom, and you're good to go. Again, just to recap, houseplants don't always need to be repotted, but if you are giving it good conditions, move it up to the next size, and those plants will be happy.